You are in the middle
Yeah.
of pandemic. You have dreams to travel, and all the borders are closing on you. You're breaking up with your partner, and then it seems like all your life is collapsing on itself. How do you keep your positive mindset and turn that around and make it into something really beautiful?
Yeah, that's a really great question. Yeah, so I mean, we were just talking about mindset right before we started recording, and I love this conversation because
Let me tell you a fun fact about our podcast. We're at the beginning process and you can have a tremendous influence over our channel. By just liking and subscribing to our channel, you'll help us increase the quality of the videos that we're creating. Also, you'll stay in the loop with the new videos which are coming every week. Thank you and enjoy the episode.
really my whole life so far has been a journey to having a positive mindset and learning how to work with it and learning how to accept kind of myself when I fall into that negative mindset. So yeah, the journey really did start unfortunately at the precipice of the pandemic. You said, I had gone out at 2021, but I had actually started preparing to become a digital nomad way back in 2018. When I first learned about what a digital nomad was, I decided I really wanted to do that. 2019, I made a promise to myself that I'm going to become a digital nomad 1 year from now. And I mean, if you count ahead to 1 year from 2019, January 1st, that was 2020. January 2020, we were so lucky. We didn't have the pandemic yet. I made really big moves in that 1 year. Like you said, I broke up a long-term relationship because I found myself in a position of wanting to go after this lifestyle, and my partner did not want that. So obviously we had some value differences there. I had all these things I had accumulated from years of being a young professional and kind of building a life in one place. We had an apartment together. We didn't own it, but we had a lot of stuff. I had worked really hard to pay off a car. I had worked really hard to make a name for myself in my local network and build this small business while I was working full time, which is a lot of effort. And then January 2020, my ex and I, like, we let go of our place. We said our goodbyes. I traveled home to do some pet sitting for my family, thinking that, maybe that's a way that I'm going to make this nomad life a little easier, being a pet sitter, because a lot of nomads talk about that. And my family ended up actually coming home from Florida early, where they had been, because there was this pandemic starting. And the first thing they kind of said to me was, "Hey, we know you're planning on going to Bali in a couple weeks. I don't think you can do this. It seems like this pandemic thing is going to be a thing." And I listened to them. And I mean, it's a blessing and a curse, because I had all this go, go, go. We're going to finally start this life we had worked for 3 years to make. And it just seemed like all of a sudden that was being ripped from me. So that whole period wasn't really a positive time for me. I watched borders close. We all saw people die. We all probably know people who either passed away from COVID or have long-term effects from the pandemic in some way. And I really didn't become a positive person in that year where I waited to travel. I think I listened to a lot of the negativity that was happening in the online digital nomad space. I think I paid a little too close attention to what people were saying on Reddit, that you shouldn't be traveling right now. It's a bad time. I don't respect anyone who travels right now, blah, blah, blah. And yeah, I think I really gave my power away to a lot of things in the pandemic, and I didn't really become a positive person. It wasn't until much later where I watched my ex move on and get engaged through the pandemic right away. I watched my friend groups change. I watched a lot of people break up, lose their jobs, lose their houses in some cases in the pandemic. And I actually got to a breaking point where, I mean, I might as well go there now. I got so depressed in the pandemic that I was really in a place where I had given away my power to all these forces. I felt very negative, very sad, very helpless, that I actually felt suicidal, because I stopped sleeping. I developed an eating disorder. I was doing all these things just to try to feel better, but they were making me feel much worse. And I got to the point where I couldn't sleep anymore. And my only thoughts for a while were, the world is going to end. I might as well end myself. And I actually called for help. In Canada, a lot of people were struggling at the time. We had a mental health line. And I tried to call it one night because I was thinking of ending my life. And I couldn't actually get through. I tried 3 times and the line was too busy and it kept disconnecting my call. And I kind of realized in that moment, okay, Steph, you have to take your power back. You are the only one who is going to save you. And that was my turning point for me. I stayed up all night researching where I wanted to go. And by the morning, I bought a plane ticket to Mexico.